Hello, my brothers and sisters. Today I'm going to share a story with you. A story that reveals the treacherous journey from the old Earth to the new Earth. This is a journey we must all embark on to understand who we truly are beyond the persona, societal conditionings, and the limiting beliefs we've inherited that have kept us disconnected from our true authentic selves. In this story, we're going to explore how many of us have been misled within the old Earth paradigm, the world we've been born into, the very system that has conditioned us to chase after the very things that don't fulfill us. We're taught to believe that success and abundance is about having more than what we really need. Cars, houses, more money in our careers, possessions, and accumulating wealth. But what if this is all a trap? What if the very things we think will make us happy are actually leading us down a path of scarcity rather than abundance? You see, we've been conditioned to seek outside validation and success through an external map, one that has been handed down to us by society, our parents, and the collective. But this map, no matter how hard you try to follow it, will never lead you to the new Earth. It's like trying to reach the top of the mountain while following a path that takes you deeper down into a pit. We've all fallen down this pit, chasing after false ideas of success, comparing ourselves to others and constantly striving because of the fear of missing out. The old Earth tells us more is better, but at what cost? The truth is, the more you strive for these external symbols of abundance, the more you create inner scarcity. We've all taken from the Earth, our mother, to fill this void. And the Earth is a living organism, and by constantly taking from her, we've been feeding our need for external validation and material wealth. Without realizing, we've been diminishing the very source of our own abundance. But what if true abundance isn't about having more on the outside? What if true abundance is about uncovering the new Earth within and embracing the sufficiency of just enough? True abundance is about being in alignment with the Earth, with ourselves, and with our highest purpose. Arthur's story may or may not be a fairy tale, but what is undeniably true is the philosophy, principles, and methodologies that guide us towards uncovering the new Earth within and embracing authenticity. His journey, whether literal or metaphorical, reflects the transformative path we all have the potential to walk. As we share a part of Arthur's story today, I just want to emphasize this is just the beginning, a preview of what's to come. This video serves as an introduction to a deeper transformation that lies ahead. Arthur's story illustrates how the shift from the old Earth to the new Earth begins within each of us. It's not solely about an individual's transformation, it's part of a greater vision we are all collectively co-creating. What you're seeing now is only the start. There is so much more to explore as we dive deep in this journey together. Incorporating the new Earth into his story, we also highlight a broader vision, one that transcends just a physical space. Our mission is to co-create conscious eateries worldwide, establishing farmlands that nurture the earthly mother and supports all who align to the new Earth. We are committed to providing offerings that are organic and free from harmful chemicals, creating communities where we can share who we are and connect authentically as we were meant to be, living in harmony with the land and each other, creating through play rather than striving to support something we are not, at the expense of our brothers and sisters, the Earth, and the collective. If we can envision it, we can create it. The shift from the old Earth to the new Earth may feel foreign at first. The old Earth keeps us stuck in patterns of striving and doing more to fill a void that never quite gets to be filled. We end up feeling empty, unfulfilled, and disconnected, even though we accumulate everything the world says we should want. This constant chase, this fear of missing out, is the trap. But the new Earth invites us to feel the abundance within, to realize that we already have what we need, and that true harmony comes from alignment, not acquisition. In this divine offering, you will gain insight into the 7 stages of the journey from the old Earth to the new Earth. We'll follow Arthur on this journey, learning the steps he took to break free from the limitations of the old Earth and uncover the abundance that resides within him, as it does within us all. I'll share the map that will guide you to break free from the shackles of the old Earth paradigm and align with your true self. This journey is for those who are willing to release the drama, to shed the old stories from the past and meet their higher selves by confronting the shadow that has kept us inauthentic. When we're trapped in the old earth, we are disconnected from our true essence. But when we step into the new earth, we align with authenticity and life flows naturally. Flow is the life urge, being in alignment with the universe, with our true selves, and with the earth. Force is a death urge, fighting against the current, resisting what is, and forcing ourselves to conform to a model of success that doesn't serve us. The old earth keeps us trapped in force, while the new earth invites us to move with flow. As we embark on this journey together, I invite you to reflect on where you've been living inauthentically, following the map of the old earth. Let's begin to question the path we've been told to follow, and instead start uncovering the truth that lies within us. The truth that will lead us to the new earth, where we find real abundance, true connection, and a life aligned with our highest purpose. Let's begin. To he who holds the truth in his hand, more shall be handed. He who withholds the truth, what little he has shall be taken away from him. Be yourself, especially when approaching death. Yeshua. Once upon a time, Arthur was born in the countryside, raised in a family torn by love and pain. His mother's battle with cancer marked his childhood, and after losing her at the age of 9, he felt abandoned and unwanted. Growing up with a father who often made him feel worthless, and an older brother who, unknowingly, was preparing him for the harsh realities of life, Arthur moved to the city, searching for purpose. But the city brought new challenges, and he got caught up in gangs, drugs, and alcohol, using them to numb the pain. As a teenager and into his early adulthood, Arthur bounced from job to job, working as a chef, tiler, removal guy, and barman, searching for meaning but never finding it. His journey continued through the chaos of running VIP clubs during his mischief days, living a reckless lifestyle filled with partying, gambling, and fleeting highs. Eventually, Arthur transitioned to a more conventional job in the city, working in an office and later as an actor. He tried to find himself in the world of performance, but it was during a toxic relationship with his ex that everything changed. In a moment straight out of the Bible, as King Solomon warns, she looked at him in disdain and asked, "Who are you?" This simple but cutting question exposed his deepest fears and insecurities, forcing him to face the truth he'd been avoiding. Rock bottom came after a vision he had of building a company collapsed and a virus diagnosis, making him feel trapped, lost, and ashamed. But this moment, though devastating, was a turning point. Arthur began his journey towards healing. He went on to represent Tony Robbins, speaking at events around the world, but found himself caught in a cycle of self-doubt. Despite outward success, he felt like a sinner in the city, whilst playing the role of a saint when speaking in Israel. Eventually, Arthur made a bold decision to leave everything behind, move to Crimea to rest his cross, to step away from the old earth and embrace a new beginning. Everything changed in 2019 when he met his soulmate through a friend at a personal development event. By New Year's, he woke up to a new life, transitioning from bachelor to family man overnight. They felt like they had both been climbing separate mountains, and when they met, they could finally rest together, finding peace after their individual journeys. They took a trip to visit London. It was a rare occasion to have the entire family together. On the flight back, they unknowingly carried COVID with them, and on March 11th, his birthday, COVID was declared a pandemic. 2 days later, on Friday the 13th, he struggled to breathe. Clinging to his silk, nearly ready to give up, he resigned himself to die in his partner's home as the world went into lockdown. In Russian, COVID means crown, and it felt as though he had been crowned, bearing the weight of responsibility for birthing the new earth. Though unaware of it at the time, the weight of this responsibility literally took his breath away, and for the next 3 weeks he struggled to breathe. Each night his body convulsed, unsure if he would survive. His partner was by his side, experimenting with different medicines, yet he continued hiding the truth, his shield locked away. Pinch from the divine. At some point, we all face a pinch from the divine, a moment in life that feels like a devastating blow, making us feel broken, incomplete, or deficient. This could come in the form of a loss, rejection, or a major setback. In these moments, we carry the weight of our suffering, believing it defines who we are. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I'll never get ahead. Or, this is just who I am. But what if these painful experiences were not punishments? What if they were actually a pinch from the divine? A divine nudge, not to break us, but to awaken us to something far greater. This isn't about external validation or achieving more, but about realigning ourselves to a higher purpose. It's in these moments of pain, fear, and suffering that we are often forced to confront what we've been running from. The PFTD is not a curse, but a wake-up call, an opportunity to shift from the old patterns that have kept us stuck and to begin to embracing transformation. In Arthur's journey, this divine nudge manifested as a virus. During a deeply troubling period of his life, the fears and emotional turmoil he had suppressed for years began to surface. His body, holding on to this unresolved pain, manifested it physically. But here's the key. The virus wasn't something to fear. It was a feedback mechanism, a physical manifestation of what needed to be faced, healed, and integrated. Illness, like all challenges, is simply a reflection, a mirror showing us where we're out of alignment. In Arthur's case, the virus revealed a part of him that needed to surface in order for true healing to occur. When that lesson was learned, the need for the illness would dissipate. Remember, nothing in life is inherently good or bad. All of it is part of the divine unfolding, guiding us toward growth and self-realization. In his search for certainty, he watched friends everywhere, so much so that he felt like the seventh cast member. He slowly started getting better, and the excitement of having the kids back home filled him with joy. They homeschooled them, and those moments became some of the best of his life. He didn't want them to end. It felt like something bigger was on the horizon, though he couldn't yet comprehend it. In the midst of this, Arthur and his partner opened a portal and downloaded a map centered around love and honor. At the time, it was called the Conscious Kingdom. But as the journey unfolded, it evolved into the new Earth. This map wasn't just a collection of ideas or plans. It carried a unique frequency. At the time, Arthur couldn't fully understand its significance, but the map was more than just a guide for their venture. It was a frequency that would lead them through a transformative experience. It wasn't until years later that Arthur realized that this map was not just a mental tool, but a profound energetic blueprint, guiding him to uncover the new Earth within. This map, imbued with love and honor, awakened the elements of the new Earth, sparking the same awakening in him that you, too, will experience. As each element of the map came alive for him, he began to understand that the true journey wasn't about external achievements or success. It was about aligning with his higher self, discovering purpose, and embodying the essence of the new Earth within. This map would guide their next venture, leading them unknowingly into a new chapter of their journey. They took the first flight to the Middle East to set up a new life, knowing the challenges ahead would test every bit of knowledge and coaching ability he had gained. The rich experiences and lessons of hardship had prepared him to face the truth awaiting them. He learned the true depth of honesty and integrity through his soulmates, especially in contrast to the businessmen he worked with, who, like him, were pretending to be something they weren't, lacking true direction and purpose. The difference between her approach and theirs felt like the divide between the old Earth and the new Earth. This became another principle for him to discern, something he had never fully understood due to his upbringing. Unconsciously, he applied the strategies of the art of war to integrate new challenges. Taking an unorthodox approach, he observed how dishonest individuals would manipulate the legal system to avoid responsibility for their partnerships. To ensure justice prevailed, he had to think creatively, strategically, and outside conventional methods. Guided by a deeper sense of purpose, he discovered that his unorthodox approach to challenges made him resourceful. This journey required him to look beyond the surface, driving him toward greater transparency. And through the trials, he realized that he wasn't just a guide. He was someone capable of leading others from the old Earth to the new Earth, helping them uncover the truth and step into their own transformation. However, he was still trapped in the old Earth, questioning if what they were creating could ever truly include him. He hadn't come clean about his past, wondering if he could bury it deep enough to act as if though he had changed. He struggled to be as intimate with her as she needed. He had hit a wall and couldn't share the overwhelming truth he had been suppressing. To confront the darker parts of himself, he turned to plant medicines, seeking to access hidden aspects of his being. He'd face them head on, willing to endure anything to break free, only to find the shadows returning, reminding him that true freedom had not yet arrived. They were building the new Earth Café with close partners, living what felt like the perfect life. Two families united, embarking on a journey that felt like a dream. They ventured to the pyramids, sailed the Nile with a guide who spoke light language and deeply connected with the sacred energy of the land, co-creating something meaningful together. They then flew to the Caribbean for the dream wedding he had always imagined. As they exchanged vows by the gentle waves, it felt like paradise. It was everything he had dreamed of, a perfect blend of love and nature. He was living the marriage he had visualized at UPW a few years ago, where he'd seen a future version of himself, smiling with his wife on the beach. It felt like the manifestation of a vision that had once seemed distant, now real and present. However, unconsciously, he has solidified his dependency, becoming increasingly trapped within what we now call the sad triangle. The sad triangle represents the patterns that keep us stuck in the old earth. These are behaviors that prevent us from stepping into our true potential and living authentically. The three parts of the sad triangle are: 1. Suppression. This is when we hide parts of ourselves, especially the emotions or truths we're afraid to show. We suppress vulnerability, fearing judgment or rejection. This can manifest in pretending to be okay when we're not, or avoiding difficult conversations because we don't want to be seen as weak. Attachment. Attachment occurs when we tie our self-worth to external things, like success, material possessions, or approval from others. For example, we may chase promotions, the perfect relationship, or accumulate wealth in the hopes that these things will bring us fulfillment. But when we attach our identity to these, we're always left wanting more because they don't fulfill us from the inside. Then we have dependence. This is when we rely on others or circumstances to define our value and safety. It could look like depending on a job, relationship, or society's expectations to feel secure. When we depend on external sources of validation or stability, we give away our power, never fully trusting ourselves. These patterns keep us trapped in the old age, always striving for more, but never feeling truly fulfilled or aligned with our authentic selves. He had been living and walking through the wilderness for a couple of years. They had built the new Earth Café and self-love in Seventh Heaven. It was just like living a story from biblical scriptures. But then the unsettling feeling returned. Why was he sabotaging the best thing that ever happened to him? What he had suppressed for years was now surfacing. The relationship you have with your parents is what you have with the world. And the relationship you had with your childhood is what you have with life. About a year before everything shifted, he had a conversation with his sister about their childhood. With his fiancée present, hearing his sister recount the past, he realized how much he hadn't been willing to hear her side because he didn't want to paint his dad in a bad light. He'd always looked up to him. But as she spoke, everything clicked. He saw how his past had shaped him and how he had carried those unresolved wounds into adulthood. He realized that the biography of his father, which he had internalized, had left an imprint on him, one he was unconsciously reenacting. He was entangled in his father's influence, repeating patterns without knowing it. The truth hit him hard. He saw his action through his fiancée's eyes, patterns of addiction and avoidance. He had hidden parts of himself and used sex as a coping mechanism. He had been hiding for so long, suppressing his true self and living in fear. It wasn't just about him anymore, it was about the impact on the people he loved. In that moment, he knew he couldn't keep suppressing his truth. He had to stop the patterns that had kept him stuck. The crucial step he had avoided all his life was finally setting boundaries with his father. This was key to reclaiming his power and breaking the cycles of self-sabotage. By setting those boundaries, he could begin to release the control he had given his father and take responsibility for his actions and healing. Where do you see the influence of your childhood and your relationship with your parents shaping your life and worldview? What truths have you been suppressing? But it wasn't enough. He thought he had dealt with everything, yet something was still missing. The internal patterns and old earth mindset hadn't been fully confronted. In 2022, everything started to unravel. Issues in his relationship with his wife, particularly around intimacy, surfaced. Problems also arose with his business partners regarding the cafe. He couldn't hold it together. Everything felt fragile. He checked himself into the Hoffman process to confront the deep wounds from his childhood he had been avoiding. During this journey, subtle signs reassured him he was on the right path. Above his bed, a picture of a red-headed woman felt symbolic of his mother. In the shower, the tile design mirrored his wife's energy. For the first time, he confronted the parts of himself that had been holding him back. It was time to stop hiding and pretending. The time had come to speak his truth and embrace who he truly was. In this moment, his higher self emerged. With tenderness standing out from the experience, he made a vow to live lightly, shedding the weight of past burdens. In December, he went to London to meet his wife. He spoke to his lawyer and for the first time
Are you
turned
sure?
down anything that would have given him the security he had long sought, especially if it meant clinging to the illusion of safety in his marriage through material means. He had hidden parts of himself for so long, paying for connection in a desperate attempt to fill the void and feel accepted through his shame, but it wasn't real. It wasn't the connection he truly sought. He had been relying on these external means to numb the pain of his dishonesty, while deep down he longed for true intimacy. While smoking a joint and watching The Chosen, the story of Yeshua came to life for him, and he felt it was time to speak his truth, no matter how difficult. He trusted the divine to handle the rest, and in that moment he told her everything about the massage parlors, hiding in the virus, and parts of himself he had been hiding. The weight of the guilt had become too much to bear. For the first time, he was clear and honest, unable to continue living in dishonesty. He needed to be seen for who he truly was, not the person he had been pretending to be. Her acceptance of him, her unconditional love, was angelic. In disbelief, he gasped, "Who are you?" As he expressed his truth, he felt his kundalini rise and everything began to shift. A weight lifted, and for the first time in years, he was free to be who he truly was, without the guilt and fear holding him back. He flew to Rome for one night to sit with his dad, as they hadn't spoken for a year, to connect and bring his realizations and any resentments to rest and continue to support him financially. That night, he buried his father in his dream, symbolizing the release of his past and the beginning of his journey toward healing and transformation. Yet, as he returned, he realized that while the cup had been emptied, much more remained to be released. The journey was far from over, and deeper layers of truth and healing awaited him. He knew that this was just the beginning of his deeper transformation. They navigated these realizations and traveled the world, following divine guidance to various destinations, including Mount Shasta, the birthplace of the Andara crystals, which had surfaced many insights in his dreams. Their journey then took them to the Azores, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, where he later learned was once Atlantis, before it was consumed by the waters. There he aligned with the energy of Hermes. Their travels continued to Ibiza, where he witnessed the gates of heaven open in the clouds, as if the divine had revealed the moon on the stage. Each of these journeys provided new perspectives and deepened their understanding. However, in 2023, something resurfaced. Despite having everything, he felt an emptiness. Unsure what was missing, he turned to sacred texts, the Bible, Quran, and Bhagavad Gita for answers, trying to piece together the puzzle unfolding within him. They were fortunate when the Queen of I Am Enough entered their lives. She offered him hypnotherapy sessions, and in the back of his mind, a thought lingered. Maybe she could fix me, as it often did throughout his life. These sessions helped him uncover the blocks that kept him stuck in the cycle of doing to justify his existence rather than simply being. It proved to be a valuable part of his journey. When you seek out others to fix you, you're acknowledging that you are broken. Where in your life are you seeking external fixes? And what might this reveal about areas where you're not fully embracing your own feelings? While there was healing and a shift in their relationship, he still wasn't where he needed to be. Older fears, attachments, and ego patterns still controlled his decisions. In 2023, he attended the Prophet Experience, an online course that revealed deep patterns he later identified as suppression, attachment, and dependency, the SAD method. Initially unaware of how these cycles influenced him, he struggled to break free. Believing that independence would restore his freedom, he unknowingly fractured his connection with his wife. Though he briefly felt empowered, the clarity quickly faded, leaving him confused and disconnected. He didn't know how to free himself without causing harm to those he loved. I'd like us to do a breathing exercise to break this up a little bit. These are tools that I've been using to navigate certain treacherous journeys myself from the old earth to the new earth, and I feel that they'll be very helpful for you as you go along this journey with us and Arthur. These tools will show up throughout the story with different breathing exercises that you can embody and make sure that you have the tools to reconnect with yourself. And this particular tool is something that I use morning and night. And we're going to do it in stages of 4. And then we're going to lead up to it where you can do it 8 times. But just in the necessary, we just do it 4 times. And it will help with alleviating anxiety to connect us back into our bodies, because when we're embracing our authentic selves, anything that's not authentic will start to fade away. And that can be really daunting, especially as all the truth is highlighted to us. So let's just close our eyes if you can for the time being. And just connect with your body if it's safe for you to do so. Because when we go through this breathing, we're going to the prefrontal cortex to alleviate this pressure from the amygdala. We're in that fight or flight response, so we can come to a place of serenity and equanimity, because when we are emotional, we will distort the reality in front of us and make it any way that is far from being safe. When we come back to ourselves, we can make more rational decisions. So here is a tool. So we're going to do it 4 times. And as we're going to do it, it's going to be on a count of 4 breathing in, holding it for 7, and then we're going to breathe out for 8. And we're going to do that 4 times. So you ready? Okay. Take a breath in for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, breathe in for 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. Breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How was that for you? Do you feel a little more connected? You notice how just focusing on your breath for a moment can lead you back into your center. As we go through this journey, I'm going to continue on in a moment. You're going to feel emotions and feelings that come up. This is the only way we can truly transcend and go beyond this paradigm of the old earth and step into the new earth, where we're no longer suppressing and trying to distract ourselves at the cost of the planet and our brothers and sisters and the collective. So with these breathing techniques, we can really navigate the treacherous journey ahead. You ready to continue? Beautiful. Let's jump in. The grief process, building the bridge to the new earth. Transformation is never instantaneous. It's a journey, and to cross from the old earth to the new earth, we need a bridge. The grief process is that bridge, guiding us through the challenges of releasing old attachments and shedding the limiting beliefs that no longer serve us. This process helps us identify the parts of ourselves that have held us back. And through it, we can begin to embrace the clarity and serenity that awaits us in the new earth. As we embark on this journey with Arthur, we'll share the key stage of the grief process, the bridge that leads to the new earth within. This process unfolds through each stage, allowing us to release old attachments, face our inner challenges, and move into a life of authenticity and alignment. Grasping. This is the moment when we hold on tightly to what no longer serves us, whether it's material possessions, old relationships, or outdated beliefs. We often cling to these things out of fear of loss or a sense of security, but holding on too tightly keeps us stuck, preventing the flow of new energy into our lives. It's in grasping that we find our attachment to the old earth way of being. Arthur was grasping onto the life he had built because it was everything the old earth told him success was. But like the monkey getting trapped by putting a nut through a small hole in the ground, Arthur was stuck. The monkey reaches in, grabs the nut, but then his fist won't fit back through the hole. Greedy monkeys will literally let themselves be caught rather than let go of the nut. Arthur was grasping the same way. His nut just happened to be his whole life. See, Arthur struggled to communicate and was often misunderstood, trapped within the sad triangle. Arthur came to understand that, according to universal laws, there was nothing to apologize for, as everything was divinely timed. Embracing this perspective, based on Dr. John Demartini's method, he spent 3 months internalizing it. However, he soon realized that while believing everything was divinely orchestrated and that he didn't need to take responsibility, his newfound belief was preventing him from being empathetic to others' perspectives. He realized that love cannot thrive in a space where being right means others must be wrong. This understanding revealed that his mindset had been an excuse to avoid true accountability. He took this insight into his podcast, creating the Bring Your Truth concept, understanding that our life purpose is often about filling the voids we've experienced. The challenges we face are reflections of what we need to heal or integrate. What void have you been avoiding? That is the clue that can lead you to your true gifts. On March 11th, 2024, his birthday, he found himself in a dangerous situation, driving unsafely with his family in the car. In that moment, he had a profound realization. He'd been living on autopilot, unaware of his self-destructive tendencies. He knew he had to confront these parts of himself if he truly wanted to heal. When we have unresolved trauma, the pain of not being heard can lead to what is known as the death urge, creating accidents or dangerous situations. Until we face and heal these parts of ourselves, we remain prone to such accidents, stuck in the cycle of the death urge. Only when we align with the life urge, fully embracing our truth and healing, can we break free. As his wife and kids left for the Mediterranean, he was home alone. Resistance. As we begin to let go, resistance shows up. It's the inner struggle that arises when we start to face what we must release. We resist change because it threatens the comfort of the known. This stage challenges us to confront our fear of the unknown, allowing us to grow through discomfort and resistance. We resist what we must shed because it feels safer to stay in the familiar, even if it's limiting us, just as Arthur is experiencing right now. And what you resist persists. Then a sharp pain surged through his left hand, and according to Louise Hay, it symbolized the need to let go. He collapsed, overwhelmed, and cried, something he had never fully allowed himself to do. "Why are you doing this to yourself?" he cried out. In that moment, he realized that what he had built with her was not authentic. He had to confront that illusion. He feared that letting go would mean losing everything, that he would be less without her, and that this abundance he had once known would never come again. He had to humble himself, face his fears, and accept that only through letting go could he move forward and truly begin his journey of transformation. He had to cross the bridge of surrender in order to die to the old self and embrace the new. For 3 days, he released everything, confronting his deepest fears of abandonment. His body trembled, recognizing it as somatic healing from waking the tiger, his body releasing suppressed trauma. Illusion. The illusion is a false sense of security we built around ourselves. It's a belief that we need external things, money, status, success, to feel complete. This stage reveals that these external sources of validation are temporary and deceptive. As we move through the illusion, we begin to see the truth, that real abundance and fulfillment lie within, not in external possessions or achievements. In Arthur's journey, he had built a life that seemed secure on the outside, but he knew deep down that something was missing. What was different this time was that he felt his higher self nurturing and comforting his inner child, who was letting it all out. In that release, he confronted the illusion that he couldn't change or be truly free. It was in that moment that he committed to lasting transformation, knowing he was ready to fully step into the new earth. He began internal family systems, IFS therapy, learning that there are no bad parts. Each part of him was trying to protect him, even if his actions seemed counterproductive. This was followed by the SLAA 12 steps for spiritual accounting, tools that helped him uncover the root cause of his behavior and shift toward a more authentic way of living. He had to surrender to God as he understood God, realizing his way was unmanageable and leading him down the wrong path. No more walking on the outskirts. It was time to fully commit, just as he had done with every other experience. In this surrender, he took the next 2 steps, allowing God to guide him toward the divine direction. During Arthur's journey through somatic healing, something deep within him was released. Pain, memories, and flashbacks from the past. As he worked through the layers of emotion, the images of Yeshua on the cross flooded his mind. It was then that he aligned with compassion, true, unconditional compassion, as he cried. The tears that flowed were not just tears of sorrow, but tears of deep love and appreciation for Yeshua and the profound act of love he demonstrated. His willingness to endure pain for the sake of love, the symbolism of that sacrifice. It all became clear to Arthur in that moment. Ego. The ego is one of the biggest obstacles to stepping into the new earth. It creates false narratives, convincing us that we are defined by our success, possessions, and achievements. The ego thrives on attachment, making us believe that what we own or how we are seen gives us security. But these are illusions. True freedom comes from when we learn to observe the ego without attachment, realizing it does not define us. When we release these attachments, we step into our authentic selves and align with the new earth. Arthur had been trapped in the ego's illusions, believing that his material success and status defined his worth. But deep down, he knew it was time to confront the truth. The external symbols of success weren't fulfilling him. With this realization, Arthur knew he had to take action, to free himself from the grip of his ego and begin his journey toward true transformation. He then embarked on a profound Vipassana journey to release his attachment to comfort, realizing how entitled and inauthentic he had become. This was a process that Buddha had taught in northeastern India over 2,600 years ago to help people step out of misery. Arthur chose to travel to Bodh Gaya, the place where Buddha had found enlightenment. And as he dragged his suitcase over broken rocks, he cursed himself for his attachment to material needs, especially as he prepared for a long and serious confrontation with his ego. From the luxury of the Middle East to a harsh, dirty room resembling a prison from Banged Up Abroad, his comfort was shattered. For the next 10 days, he found himself in a small underground cell in Dharma Body, hot, dusty, and dark. 10 hours of meditation each day pushed him beyond his expectations, confronting his ego and the layers of discomfort he had avoided. It felt like serving time, as his conditions were worse in prison. He had to sit in his misery, unable to escape, forced to face the very darkness he'd been running from. It was there that a deep truth, suppressed since he was 11, surfaced about his father. He realized how much of his life had been shaped by this early wound, and how much healing was still needed. The words, "We are only victims of the suppression of our truth," echoed in his mind, a powerful reminder of how holding on to lies traps us in cycles of suffering. It felt as if the angels or his guides were speaking to him, as a light revealed itself, revealing why he was here and what he needed to do. This new realization weighed heavily on him, like a cross too difficult to bear. Was this my ego? He wondered, as he asked the questions, and the answers that came were too divine for him to have conjured on his own. He rushed back to his room to purge this truth. This realization showed him that truth, no matter how painful, is key to freedom and healing. The weight of this suppressed truth had silently influenced his actions, fueling insecurity and fear. It became clear why the foundation of his spiritual growth hadn't taken root. Now it was time to nurture this new seed, allowing it to grow into a strong tree that could cleanse and sustain both himself and the collective. Through the Buddha's practice, he began to see pain and pleasure objectively, without attachment or aversion. The duality within him started to dissolve, allowing him to make two become one. He understood that true equanimity and freedom lie not in avoiding discomfort or clinging to pleasure, but embracing both as parts of a greater whole, creating harmony within himself. This shift in perception brought him closer to his true self and ultimately the new earth. When you make the two into one, and when you make the inner as the outer, and the upper as the lower, and when you make male and female into a single one, so that the male shall not be male, and the female shall not be female, then you will enter the kingdom. Yeshua. He confronted his dad about the past, and his father admitted the truth of what Arthur had found, revealing also that his mum had been in open marriage. This shattered the idolized vision Arthur had of his mum as the Virgin Mary and explained a lot. Soon after, Arthur emailed his father. The tangled vines of past misunderstandings now unraveled. He left the choice with his father, whether to embrace his path of healing or not. He made it clear that the truth, no matter how long suppressed, would always come to light. He continued his healing at a sanctuary in Yorkshire, where he attended the Hoffman process years earlier, clearing the silt that had been holding him back. And during this time, he recalled the disciples' words, "When will you make yourself known to us?" His inner voice echoed, "When you rid yourself of guilt and shame." At that moment, the truth of those words landed with him. He felt the weight of his suppressed emotions and tapped into an unexpressed rage, which erupted like a volcano. Rage his inner child had never felt safe enough to express. Tears followed this release as he realized how long he had feared his own rage. And through this process, he confronted his sense of specialness, which had kept him from forming deep connections. He had built a false pretense to mask his feelings of unworthiness. Reflecting on high standards he had set for himself, he recognized that his jealousy of Yeshua, seen as the chosen one, stemmed from an old wound. The jealousy he felt towards his younger brother when attention was scarce. This journey began freeing him from the Messiah complex he had clung to, belief that he needed to save others to be worthy. As he expressed his deep truths publicly, he realized these truths weren't real. the reflections of past hurts, and by voicing them, he began to release their hold over him. He continued with the steps forward to addressing old resentments. It felt like he'd been holding these people prisoner in his psyche, occupying space and energy without realizing it. It was time to release them and himself, setting them both free. Fear. Fear is the last force that we must confront. It's the fear of losing control, the fear of the unknown, the fear of change, and the fear of not being enough. These fears often tap into our deepest anxieties, the fear of dying alone, fear of being poor, the fear of being disgraced or abandoned. These fears are insidious and can keep us from stepping into the fullness of the new earth within. But once we confront these fears, we can transform them into power. Fear becomes the catalyst for stepping into our true potential, driving us to move into the unknown with courage. By confronting our fears, we reclaim our power and step into the life we're meant to live. For Arthur, his upcoming ayahuasca journey was a direct confrontation with his deepest fear, the fear of death. He had prepared himself, knowing that when fears arose as a medicine took hold, he had the tools and methods to let them vanish. The Divine Mother's unconditional love suddenly enveloped him. It wasn't just words, it permeated deep in his cells. For the first time, he felt truly worthy. Having prepared himself for death, he realized he was no longer afraid. This experience marked a turning point, shedding old patterns of self-doubt and unworthiness. His gene key 22, related to the new earth, was activated. And in this state, he saw Merlin the magician juggling 3 states of consciousnesses: Hermes, Christ, and Buddha, guiding him to help others transmute suffering through compassion, wisdom, and love. Yet another truth was revealed to him, one that leveled the playing field. The medicine showed him that many people, including self-proclaimed gurus, often hide behind illusions of wisdom and enlightenment. While they preach ideas of compassion and spiritual growth, they are no different, seeking wealth and comfort for themselves. This insight humbled him, revealing the easy ways people can be misled by falsehoods, even within the spiritual community. However, when he returned to his life, he felt disempowered. Why? The breakthrough came when he realized he couldn't be there emotionally for his wife when she needed him most. Still dependent on her, he felt torn, like a juvenile, fawning to keep the peace while unknowingly attracting conflict to break the illusion. Then they saw that they had reached their soul's contract. It was time to stop resisting and start truly being, shedding the shield of living inauthentically. His inner child had healed, and his core felt solid and unshakable for the first time. It was as if he had reclaimed his authentic self, free from the fears that once held him back. With this newfound strength, he was ready to step back into the world, fully embracing who he truly was, ready to face whatever came next with divine guidance. The DIE method, path to authentic freedom. The DIE method is a transformative approach that helps you break free from these constraints of the older. Empowering you to align with your highest self, it creates a space to step into your full potential and express your true confidence. This method guides you towards true freedom, liberating you from dependency and supporting your journey into the new Earth's way of being. Arthur had crossed the bridge, knowing the only way through was to die, to detach, to embrace independence, and to fully express himself. He understood that in order to truly break free, he had to let go of the false attachments to the old Earth paradigm, where success, approval, and possessions defined him. He had to detach from these illusions of security. The next step was independence, embracing his true self and standing strong in his authenticity, regardless of external pressures. The final step was expression, allowing his voice, his truth, and his purpose to flow without fear of hesitation. This was the path forward, the path of transformation, where he would step into the new earth and embrace the freedom that had always been waiting for him. Their real talk of separation was finally happening, something he had deeply feared. It was bittersweet, breaking free from dependency but at the cost of his marriage. She left for the Mediterranean with the kids so they could integrate this realization. Post-traumatic growth is the process of transforming our most painful experiences into sources of strength and spiritual awakening. Rather than seeing suffering as a burden, PTG teaches us to use it as a catalyst for growth. Embracing pain. PTG begins when we confront our pain instead of avoiding it. For example, facing a deep loss or failure allows us to feel and learn from it instead of hiding from it. Shifting perspective. We then shift our view, seeing the pain not as something that weakens us, but as an opportunity for growth. A personal tragedy, for instance, can help us realize what truly matters, deepening our sense of purpose, building strength. By embracing our challenges, we transform them into inner strength. This makes us more resilient and aligned with our true selves. Aligning with purpose. PTG ultimately helps us live in alignment with our highest potential. It's about using our struggles to discover who we are meant to be, not allowing them to define or limit us. PTG is a journey from pain to purpose, from darkness to light. By embracing our struggles, we unlock the power to evolve, heal, and step into a life aligned with our deepest truth. Arthur's journey through PTG didn't stop shifting his perspective. He had to actively confront his fears, especially the ones that kept him trapped in the old Earth mindset. Through the 12 steps, he kept prayers, addressing his deepest fears: abandonment, his wife leaving, the boys forgetting him, and the fear of becoming homeless and poor. These fears were his internal roadblocks, the shadows he had to face in order to step in the new earth. By confronting these fears, he began transforming them, unlocking his true potential and freeing himself from the chains of uncertainty. Soul Magnetic Compass. The Soul Magnetic Compass serves as your internal guidance system. Once activated, it ensures you stay aligned with your true path, navigating life with clarity and confidence. The SMC connects you with your higher self, guiding you through challenges and keeping you focused on your soul's purpose. As Arthur began to align with his true path, a profound shift occurred within him. His SMC was activated, and suddenly a powerful bolt of insight struck him, piercing through his chaotic thoughts like lightning through a mighty tree. This awakening marked the beginning of his alignment with his true purpose. The SMC is a tool that directs you towards authenticity, filtering out distractions and limiting beliefs, ensuring you remain focused on your path. By connecting you with your true calling and the vision of the new earth, the SMC helps you make decisions that reflect your soul's purpose rather than external influences. Once activated, the SMC helps you shed old narratives, aligning you with your highest potential. For Arthur, it revealed that his previous life, built on external validation and fear, was an illusion. With this newfound clarity, he embraced the truth of his authentic self, realizing that he no longer needed external approval to live in alignment with his purpose. These processes, aligned with the universal laws, weren't about what he had to do, but about shifting his perspective and aligning with what was already available. He began to embrace the new earth, realizing that the life he had been living was an illusion. Driven by fear and dishonor, the new earth wasn't just an idea, it was a way of being, one not dependent on external approval. He found freedom not through independence, but through alignment with his truth and purpose. This realization meant that anything built on inauthenticity had to go, including the life he had been living. As Arthur aligned with his higher self and embraced the new earth, he activated the Pi method. 3. Purpose plus intention plus alignment, followed by 1. Unity. And 4. The integration of the 4 key dimensions: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. This created harmony, allowing him to fully step into his purpose and the new earth. Grounded in the 3.14 circle, this method was beginning to create harmony across all aspects of his life. By understanding and integrating his purpose, the why, intention, focused action, and alignment, ensuring harmony across his being, he found balance. Unity connected him to everything around him, and the integration of the 4 dimensions allowed him to step into the fullness of his purpose. This alignment enabled him to fully embrace his true purpose, unlocking his potential and stepping into the new earth with clarity and confidence. He realized he had to let go of the roles he had built: owner of the cafe, married to a beautiful, loving woman, stepfather to 2 incredible boys, and the image of success society had given him. He had all the trappings of worldly success: luxury cars, a villa, his own businesses. But as Yeshua said, worldly names are full of deceit and delude our minds. These labels and possessions weren't fully who he was. They were society's superficial definitions of success, keeping him trapped in illusion. But those who transcend these apparent opposites are eternal. His dharma was to transcend the best he could manifest, to release attachments and break free. In letting go, he discovered his true freedom, soaring without the weight of worldly roles. This release, though painful, was essential for his transformation. Only by letting go could he embrace the boundless freedom awaiting him and step fully into who he was meant to be. While working through step 9 and making amends, as if clearing the runway before taking off, he sat across from his wife and realized he had to make the most important amends of all. Acknowledging his dishonesty, fear of judgment, and lack of authenticity. He has shaped himself into someone he thought she needed, instead of showing up as his true self. He took full responsibility for the harm he had caused and the pain inflicted on her. What hurt most was realizing she was the best thing that ever happened to him. And in his suffering, he had hurt her too. He told her he never wanted to take anything from her that wasn't his. And through their trials, he had given everything to their wedding, the new Earth Café, and those in need. It was time to start fresh, aligned with the divine. No organization will ever annihilate its own existence. This rings true as he steps into the new Earth, where the goal is not survival or external gain. Unlike an organization driven by self-preservation, he is guided by a deeper, authentic purpose transcending the need for validation. In the new Earth, they align with their true essence, releasing old patterns and embracing joy, abundance, and fulfillment, not from external accomplishments, but from living in harmony with their soul's purpose. Love, compassion, and unity become the foundation for co-creating a future that serves the collective. As Krishna says, you have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you're not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Their journey is about serving the divine, co-creating the new earth, and embracing their true path without seeking external validation. Together they move forward authentically, embracing life's flow. As Prophet Muhammad said, the most hated person to Allah is the one who is most quarrelsome of the opponents. Allah's messenger said, I guarantee a home in paradise for a person who gives up arguments and disputes, even if he is on the truth. Through our experiences, we realized it wasn't about convincing anyone of the truth. Once we found it, we had to move forward with purpose and trust in divine guidance. We are not here to convince anyone. If this resonates with you, a window of opportunity to the new earth will begin to unfold within you. In the 19th century, scientists like Faraday and Maxwell laid the groundwork for understandings of the electromagnetic field, revealing that we're all interconnected through invisible forces. As Yeshua would call them, the golden thread. Although we cannot see these fields, they influence our thoughts and actions. Affecting the collective consciousness, unexpressed emotions and suppressed energies can manifest as societal unrest. While embracing and expressing our true selves can bring balance and harmony, it is our collective responsibility to tap into this energy, express our truth, and contribute to the healing and transformation of the world around us. Arthur's story is just one example of the profound transformations that happen when we align with the new earth. But this path to awakening is not limited to him alone. The journey that led him here is one that I too have walked. Now I'm here to show you how you can step into your transformation, just as Arthur did, and begin your journey of living a life of authenticity. Throughout this journey, we'll explore Arthur's life, examining his patterns and conditioning. By seeing how he navigated his transformation, you'll recognize similar patterns in your own life and begin breaking free from them. This exploration may bring up a range of emotions, but that's part of the process, confronting what holds us back so we can move forward. Humor will be interwoven throughout his story because medicine is always best when taken with laughter. While this path is deep and transformative, a little lightness and humor go a long way in helping us navigate the toughest moments. This journey is for those who are truly ready to meet themselves and dive deep into transformation. We will be by your side, guiding you through uncovering your highest truth, the telos, to meet your higher self. As you embark on this transformative pilgrimage, know that you've already taken the first step. And as part of the pilgrimage, you will have access to videos that shed light on Arthur's journey. You will never be alone in this journey, as you have us, the community, and of course, the absolute one who loves absolute. All we ask is that you match the value you receive, whether through money or service, and share this with everyone you know, friends or foe. This allows us to continue serving you and others worldwide. We are committed to full transparency, which you can find on the New Earth website, where we outline our intentions for how the divine gifts us through your contributions. Our spiritual awakening is not just for us, it is meant to be shared with the world. This pilgrimage calls to those feeling the divine urge to step into their true power and embrace the new earth. So let's embark on this journey together, so we can write a new book, one that lines us all together in unity. We're all in this together. We're all connected with electromagnetic fields, For collective consciousness is our responsibility. We want to see the change in the world. We're all searching to find out who we are, and it's only come to me recently that I am a rose man, bringer of truth, co-creator of the new earth. In love and honor.